Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. Help me welcome my wonderful co hosts for the Sisters of the Mystical Tarot Show. Yay!
Yay!
From
Glad to be here.
Soul
Glad-
I've
Connected.
got so many decks out that I'm working through. It's like I'm in this space. It's like I can't even
Yes.
move my arms out.
Yeah. I'm Sherry from Voices from the Swamp and Val from Dragonfly Crystals and Next Level Channeling. Yay!
Yay!
Hello, everyone.
I have my damn it doll with me.
Oh, perfect.
There you go. I need one of those.
That's what it
Yes.
does.
That's what it's for. And welcome, everyone. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. We hope to have a lively discussion. And we will remind you, or I will remind you, to please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And in the description of the show, I've got Allie, Val, and Sherry's channels listed on there as well. So please go over to their channels and do the same thing. It really helps with the algorithm. Even if after the show you just leave a comment or just a thumbs up emoji, anything. And when you press on the little thumbs up button, it helps us get out in front of people who want to hear what we have to say. They just don't know who Marina, Allie, Sherry, and Val are.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
And once they find out, boy, oh boy.
Yeah. You want to be front of the line. You want to be able to look at your friends and say, I've been following them for years. I know them
Oh, yes.
personally.
I was one of their first followers.
That's right. That's right. So, quick check in. What have you got going on right now, Allie, that you want to tell the good folks about?
Well, I'll be on with Mark and Joan tomorrow with the mediums. And then I also will be on with Donna Marie. She's a great reader as well. And then Friday night, I don't know what I'm doing. But Saturday, I'll be on with Jeff, I think. I think I'll be on with Jeff. So, yeah, just busy, mostly grading, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and if you folks want to know what we're up to, check out our individual YouTube pages because most of us will post our schedule for the week.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're there, hitting the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever we go.
And go back and check at least a couple of times a month that you haven't been unsubscribed that YouTube says it doesn't do.
Yes.
But yet
Yes.
it happens. So
It does.
go
Yes.
figure.
Absolutely. And Val, what have you got going on?
Well, Sisters of the Mystical Tarot tomorrow, or not Mystical Tarot, Messages for Lightworkers. I'm on autopilot, folks. I am now present. I call myself back to this space. Messages for Lightworkers tomorrow. And actually, then on Friday, I have Arthur Ease Your Mind. I'm going to be on his channel, actually. And we're going to do the live Q&A. And I want to remind you, we have one seat available for those who want to sign up to the Val and Arthur event on Zoom. That is on June 14th, where only 10 participants are going to get 10-minute readings each, maybe even a little longer. But from the guides, angels, channeling, everything from Arthur and I. For that intensive time, you can ask all the questions you want. Go to dragonflycrystals.store, not .com, not .net, .store. And, I did move my tab over, so it's private sessions and classes now. If you want to click, it doesn't say book online. It says, so just so you know, I switched it around and tried to make things easier for all of you. And you can still sign up for channeling, Akashic Records, and psychic mediumship with Allie and I. Yay!
Yay! Well, we're
I'm gonna have to look into the channeling class sometime in the near
Oh,
future.
you should take the
I
channel.
accidentally did it like last weekend before last with Nate.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh, let's just see what Donald's up to. And we went
Yeah.
to peek in his head, and I went like down the rabbit
Yeah.
hole and next thing I knew I was channeling him, and
That's
it
channeling.
freaked me out. I'd never done that before. It was a
Yes.
first. I didn't
Yeah.
know what was going on. And Nate's like, you're channeling. Keep
See,
going. Keep
if
going.
you,
I'm like,
if you sign up for channeling, you can understand it. You can
understand
do
it better. Yeah.
You can call it in anytime you want. Talk to anyone that you want. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's an immediately you're doing it right there in class. So
Perfect.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It was
And how
pretty
about
cool.
you,
It was
Sherry?
kind of scary.
What have you got going on?
Well, tomorrow night we got Golden Girls with Cleo on her channel, Cleo the Seer,
Yes.
at 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific. I have to think about it for a minute. Friday night is Polyterology with the Gang on the Cool Crone. And then Saturday at 11 a.m. Central is my date with Nate, our regular show we do on my channel, and that's a live stream we do. And then at 2 p.m., I'm doing a live introducing a lady named Trish Campbell. She makes her own waxes and wax candles and oils and all that stuff. She's a friend of Arthur's, and he asked me if I would reach out to her and maybe have her come on the channel. And she was like, oh, absolutely. So she's going to be on Saturday at 2. And then at 5, Deborah Zackow, Growing with Deborah Zackow, is going to be on to talk about her new book that just came out. And then 10 o'clock is a slumber party. And then I don't know, at some point I'll collapse. Everything's piled up on Saturday. So, and then
Yes.
Sunday it's just backstage with Arthur. So that's my week. Everything's on Saturday.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, when you hold a full-time job, as well as
Exactly.
doing this, yeah.
Oh, and I have a new member that also has her own Etsy shop, which I'm in the process of getting all that information. And she lives right here in my city.
Oh, wow.
So we're getting together Friday to go have, iced coffee together or something and just meet and get to know each other and everything. And so that'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
that's great.
Perfect.
And,
Perfect.
I want to say hi to Gerald, Tarot Stash.
hey, Gerald.
Gerald and
I
I
missed it
did
today. Gerald was on today with
me.
who? With you. Yeah, and I missed it. I had to leave the office, and when I came back, y'all were done. I was like, damn it,
And Gerald and I just did manifesting in the quantum field class. Wow, that was a fun
Yay.
class. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
was
we
fun.
did our sweet or sour readings.
Mhm.
And oh boy, the cards were on fire.
Wow.
And
I
they
love
were
it when that happens.
Yes, they were so confirming each other, no matter what it was.
Yeah.
It
I love
was
it when it gets
awesome.
like that. There's that
Yes.
synergy going, and man, it all comes together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love
So
that.
what yes, tomorrow I will be on Val's channel for Messages for Lightworkers, and then on Cleo's channel for Golden Girls. Friday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I've got Linda G coming to join me. So make sure that you come on over, and we'll have a little conversation, catch up on things, and so on and so forth. Next week is going to be a lot of fun. Next week, I'm not going to get into all the details. I'll just tell you I've got Jason Tempinski, Celtic Tarot Sheila, Moon Scarab, and Allie. Those are over and above the normal.
That's
But
a lot.
it's going to be a fabulous fabulous week. So again, if you want to know what I'm up to, hold on there. Thank you. If you want to know what we're up to, go to our YouTube channels. Check on there because I post every Sunday. This is my week ahead. Every day you get to know what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. Yeah, whose channel I'm on, who's coming on my channel, yeah, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, so there.
Well, that's great. That's great. Boy, you are an overachiever.
I am an overachiever. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And Gerald says, yeah, the readings were on fire. They were. It was fabulous. It was fabulous. So, what I thought that we would talk about today, and it was something that kind of has been rolling around in my head, and that is we're hearing more and more talk about ETs.
Yeah.
And
get here.
Sorry, hurry up and get here.
I wish they would hurry up and
yes,
get here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what the thought that came to me was, when we talk about ETs, a lot of people are a little apprehensive. Do they so I wanted to find out from each of you how you felt about the ETs, and do you, what would you, if you had one in front of you, what would you ask them? Do you think that they're once they make their presence known, is this going to be something that's going to be beneficial or maybe harmful? So take it away, Allie. You're on the hot seat.
Well, okay. So I did have benefit of talking with the Akashic Records Masters yesterday, and they say that, I can't remember everything that was said, but I don't think there's anything to be frightened about. I think they're here to help us. I think they don't want to help us in the middle of this show that we're living, because there could be somebody out there, shooting at them and such and so forth. But I want to know where they're from. And I heard there's a spaceship coming from Zeta Reticuli, which is like 39. It would take 39 years just to get here. But if they're in that, thing, they're on their way. But what I just want to share is that I'd like to, if I was asking them anything, I would say, where were you from on that day in 1966 when you went over my head as a young child?
Yeah.
And have you been following me since? Because many times I've felt followed in different places. But last night on the Dream Show, Kim B, Red Dragon, she had sent me some pictures of this strange looking formation that she took pictures of over her area. And Diana was watching a video after that, and I'll be damned if it wasn't that.
Wow.
It's not like anything you've seen before. It's kind of like very, very different, but the pictures were very clear. Yeah. And the picture that Diana sent was very clear. And so I'm thinking, they're all around us.
They're all around.
They're just tapping their fingers and saying, we'll be there whenever you are ready for us.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, exactly. No, I get it. How about you, Val?
Well,
first
of all, I agree with Allie. They are here. They've been here before we were ever here. And so they're here in, kind of a different dimensional space. They don't always live right in the 3D. And they are in Antarctica underground. They are in mountains here in Nevada. They're all over the place. What can I say? They've been here for a long, long time. And a lot of them are underground. And that's another thing about Shasta and Telos. And I mean, you could go on and on. These things are not stories that are just completely made up. They are telling something about what's really true but with a lot, some people have embellished it through the years,
Yes.
and some people have written stories about it as if it were true. But there are some accounts of it that really are accurate, and these civilizations exist now. The reason why we can sometimes see the ships and sometimes not, you know how they blink in and out. They're coming in and out, phasing in and out of the dimensional space.
Yes.
Do I think they can come from 39 light years away or however? Yes, they can go through. They can absolutely come from all these different places right now through just simply traversing it by what is that method? I can't even think
Black
of it.
holes. Is it black
It
holes?
isn't even black holes. They actually just create the space around them that they want to be in, and boom, you go. It's like, you know
It's
how
all
you
clear.
create your reality?
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
they do. And this has been explained, but it seems more high tech than that. But you know how they're connected to their ships. They
Yes.
think it is. And so that's how it
Yes.
works. But I'm not saying they don't go through wormholes in dimensional space
Right.
and time.
No, I know.
They do.
Yeah.
That is what I really believe, that it's going to be soft disclosure. They're already all around us. We see them all the time. If you want to see them, go out and start talking to them in a beautiful way, in a loving way, and you stand there long enough and they will be there and you can see them. So, you know, I really believe that if you resonate on a high enough frequency of love, they will show up for you, and especially a group that you might. And, you know, Linda G has done those groups in Sedona where, you know, they're there for a conference, but they'll go out and stand and wait.
Take pictures. We took
Yeah, they
pictures.
show
Yes.
up because all of you are there with a very spiritually oriented mindset. And of course, they're very, very high vibration.
Yes.
And what would I ask them if they showed up? I say, can you tell me the original origin of humanity? Is it really that we were created by the Anunnaki? Because I hear our progenitors are like 3 or 4 different, and maybe even more manipulation than that in between all of it.
Mhm.
So, you know, I would want to know the story of Earth and the real history that we don't know, and how we created this Earth School and what's that all about? Because you always hear about entities or beings. Oh, they're keeping you down. They're this. Well, you know, the universe works this way. You have to be in agreement for it all to happen. And there has to be a higher purpose, because there's the divine source over everything.
Right.
Think about it that way. Okay. So I would want to know about all of that. Do I want to know about them and where they come from and all of that? Well, I think I already feel like I do, because I feel like I am them. And that would be another question. Are we you? Are you us in the future? What is that comparative nature that we are? We're bipeds. We have a lot of things in common. And how do I see them helping humanity? I really feel like they are here at this time in history to really, and even the Anunnaki, because folks, the Anunnaki are not here to hurt us in any way. They've already done that thing, and now they're trying to be fostering us toward our evolution. So they're not on the planet doing it. They're elsewhere, but helping us. And so get off that kind of plane of thinking, which is not a positive kind of thing. Get past that, because you even add incarnations in it as Anunnaki. So then going out of this idea that we are all from divine source, everything created. Some people don't believe that, and some people do. But I do believe that. It's a fabric of the universe. It's the infinite field. You can feel it and sense it. And I feel like they're here to assist us to understand who we really are when we're not in this vessel, and how much we can do while we're here in this dimensional state. And I believe that when we are in the 5th dimensional state and above, that so much will be freed up within us to utilize those higher senses and abilities that we don't even realize, including telepathy and all of that, as they do as a normal course of events. And how do you accomplish that? You cannot be telepathic unless you are open-hearted and ready to receive. You have to be open. You can't be closed off. And so one of the nature of that is becoming a more open vessel while you're in the body and aligning with that all is one idea. We are all one. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's so much you could ask.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And how about you, Sherry?
I've never doubted that there were ETs. I mean, I remember watching the original Star Trek back when I was a little girl. And to me, it was like, oh, well, that's where we're going to be. There was no doubt in my mind that that was a very real possible future for us, even though I didn't quite think of it in those terms. I wasn't really old enough. But, and then when I was a teenager, and I was with a group of friends, and we had been helping another friend strip the wax off of the flooring. He had his own beauty salon, and he wanted to strip out the old wax, put in fresh wax. We've been working all night on it. We went out around 2 a.m. to go take a smoke break and just breathe some regular air and not chemical air. And I remembered sitting on the hood of the car and kind of leaning back and looking up, and I see these 3 very bright lights in the sky. And at first I was just thinking, well, what star is that? I couldn't remember. And they started doing this wiggle dance. They were like up, down, in, out, all around. And I'm looking and I'm like, do y'all see what I see? And everybody else turns around and looks up, and they're all like, oh, wow, what is that? I mean, we were all just mesmerized. Yes. None of us knew what it was. I mean, it was our first UFO. We were all just flipping out. And we sat there for probably 30, 45 minutes and watched this amazing light show that they put on of just zipping and moving. It was like, it was an impossibility for it to have been anything made on this planet.
Yeah, for sure.
Back in the mid late 70s.
Then, before the government had their own versions.
Right. I mean, we're talking 76, 77 when this happened. And so, and we were all just like mesmerized. And then all of a sudden they all kind of went together, and then they all went and just went straight up and disappeared.
Yeah.
And we all looked at each other and thought, did we really just watch what we just watched? And we were like, yeah, we can't tell nobody. They'll think we're crazy or that we're doing drugs or something. And so we never talked about it unless it was just us. And again, kind of like what Allie said, I've always kind of felt like there's been something there ever since, like keeping an eye on me or something. I don't know. I can't really explain it. I've never seen other lights in the sky since. I've never seen an ET. I would like to, but they've not shown themselves yet. And several years ago, when I first went in this community, and I had what they call a star seed report done that tells you like where your lineage comes from. And mine was blank. And I was like, well, there's a mistake. Why is it blank? And she said, oh, you're from the before time. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? She says, you're from before. And I said, before what? She said, before everything. I said, everything what? She said, before the universes were created, before everything. And that kind of blew my mind. So that would be my first question to them is is that correct? And can you explain what that means? Did I have a hand in creating this or not? Or just what? What does that mean? And my next question would be, can I go back with you? I don't want to stay here, or at least that's how I feel sometimes. But mainly it would just be, with their technology and all that they're able to do, you know, how long do we have to wait before they impart the knowledge for medicines and medical abilities? And I know they've already helped tremendously, but I also know they can do so much more. And it's, I look around and it's, you see kids with cancer and horrible things that happen to people and to animals, uh, for medical stuff. And it always just breaks my heart. It's like, I know they've got the solution. Why can't they just download it into somebody's brain and let them be, the savior to everyone and fix this stuff? And I know that when I've tried to talk with them, I always get that impression back that we're just not ready for them yet. And it's like, okay, well, maybe some of us aren't, but some of us are waiting on pins and needles for you to hurry up and get here. I mean, not that they're not already here, but publicly making that statement. And as I've gotten older and older, I think part of their hesitancy is they don't want to create uh, a religious freakout, because there's a vast amount of people in this world who are very tied to their religious beliefs, whatever they are. That does not include the possibility of ETs. And it would probably create mass chaos on a scale that we don't even understand yet. And so I think that's part of their hesitancy of not coming forward. They're trickling it out, trickling it out.
I think a lot more people are ready for it than people think. I mean, it's become a normal thing.
Yeah, I think now today a lot more people are at the point they're like, yeah, come on, just let's quit.
It's
farting around.
It isn't even come home. Just come out and show yourself, because they're already here.
They're already here. Just just review
they
yourself.
Never really left.
They never
always been here. And what they have done is taken a step back and gone into the shadows, in some ways for self-preservation, but in other ways to allow us the opportunity to learn how to handle those things that are so different from us. Because we tend to see anything, and I mean, good example right now is just different cultures on Earth, people that we identify with as being humans from a different culture, and how much we misunderstand about each other.
Exactly.
So bring into that something that is 1,000 times
different.
more different, challenging, whatever it might be.
And the funniest thing is, it's on all the pyramids. It's everywhere. You can see the spacemen, the people from the space gods, the people.
How many of us have had the dreams and had the channeling and
in Egypt, the heads that are like this, and they have the head thing. The heads are really like that.
Exactly. It's like
things like that. And I love Patty says, do our angels and guides see them and interact with them? Well, that's what's funny. We, as Sherry's just saying, we interact and channel the ETs all the time.
Yes,
we do. We don't need our guides to do it for us. We actually talk to living ETs right now, all of us. And we communicate, and we have jobs and do things with them. And so we don't even need to know if our guides and angels do, but of course they do. They have jobs they do together on these councils. So they do, but we can communicate ourselves. There's no more of that three-way. You got to go through here to get there. No, you just go.
Just go. Exactly.
What we don't understand, we fear, and what we fear, we tend to hate, and what we hate, we want to kill. True. And it's a very ugly facet of humanity and how most of humanity operates. And so I understand their hesitancy of not wanting to become the prime target. But at the same time, I really feel like if they would just go ahead and step out and say, okay, look, we're here, we've been here, how the hell do you think you got airplanes in the air and going to
Yeah,
the moon?
exactly, right?
You think we haven't been there leading you down the road?
How do you think
No,
we went in 50 years from being horse and buggy to having
to the space shuttle.
computers, to having devices in our hand,
Yeah.
to having microwaves, to have,
Just look at Star
When
Trek,
you look
the
at the
original
things
series,
that
when you
we
had
have
people.
done to different people on Earth, let's say, for example, a good example, I think, would be Bigfoot.
Mhm.
You know, I do believe in the existence of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Why not? Um, However, when you see people trying to approach them, most of them are out there with their binoculars and their shotguns
Yes.
because they're going out there and they're going to
Yeah.
be hunting.
They're going to go bag a Bigfoot. Yeah.
They're why? So that you can kill it, so that you can examine it, and so that you can see how it works, rather than go out there with an open heart, accepting heart, and saying, "Hey, you might be different, but it's so there." That's what I think. What a lot of them are waiting for is for most most of us here to get to that point where we can accept difference without wanting to label it, without wanting to name it something, make it into something, examine it. Well, where we just accept what it
Without
is.
wanting to make it the enemy.
Yeah. And the other thing too is there are difficult lessons that some people have to learn in terms of, you know, how we treat each other, how we how we treat ourselves, how we treat the earth, all that. That if I understand, I would love for them to come through right now. The thing is that most of the people wouldn't understand that they are coming here to help or to save or to get us to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
They would simply sit back and go, "Whew, glad somebody fixed that." So there isn't that deep personal learning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that,
they want the connection.
yeah.
They want that connection with us.
Oh, they expect us.
We're not all there.
They anticipate us joining the Galactic Federation or
Yes.
the
Yes.
group
Exactly.
of beings who are out there. Of course, yeah, and the secret government already has Space Force, but I mean, consciously joining.
Yeah, exactly.
No, exactly. And as with Bigfoot or the werewolves or the vampires or the whatever creature you want to think of.
Yeah.
Are they really there? Well, I've never personally seen one, but I have no doubts that they're here. Are they alien? Maybe. Are they something created from evilness here? I seriously doubt it. I just don't see things in that evil, non-evil.
That's the whole thing.
Anyway.
I just want to jump in about the evil thing because I just want to say to everyone, there really is only love and there is only divine source. So even though this is a dialectic yin yang kind of right wrong school, when you see the dark or you see the shadow side of yourself or you see what one would deem evil, no, it's just shadow needing the truth, needing the light. And so if we step on some podium and start pointing fingers at things and calling it names, we are pointing it at ourselves, calling us that name.
Exactly what I was trying to get to. It just, there's no boogeyman, so to speak.
There's no boogeyman. There is no boogeyman, folks.
Are there maybe other races of ETs that maybe don't have highest goals?
Yeah, we have all of our levels.
Yes.
Who knows? I've never met them, so I can't answer that question.
You can't really. Yeah.
I think that we want to ascribe human emotions and human ways of thinking to them when they are on a plane so much higher than we are. And it's like trying to explain to an ant.
And it's like we think with our heart or think with our emotion, and they're in this universal consciousness where what is the good of all? What is the good of all? And we might go, that's not good, but they're looking at what is the good of all. And though we, from our perspective, can't see that, they can see it from their perspective.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And that there is their history goes so far back, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
And it is not something to be feared. And it's not something that is you don't have to cage it. You don't have to confine it. And I think it was Maureen D'Amico who said earlier or asked earlier about, well, sort of how does that fit in with the Bible? One of the key thing to remember about the Bible is that it is a man-made construct.
Correct.
The Bible was written by men hundreds of years after the principal architect, Jesus, died. So, you're talking about.
I'll be right back. I think it's storming out there. I need to go.
You're talking about a book with distortions.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, well, my uncle's cousin Fred said that he heard from so and so that is
Harry.
Yes. Yeah, that is based on reality. Maybe some of it is, but a lot of it isn't, because the especially religion has been used in a lot of ways to control the bulk of the population, so that it is you have to go through a third person, through a translator, in order to understand what is written in the Bible, because you've never been taught to read, so you have to rely on someone who apparently knows how to read to tell you what's in there. They may or may not be translating it correctly.
They may interpret it completely different from the original meaning.
Exactly.
Plus, they took a lot of books out. They took a lot of things out.
There's a ton out, folks, and it might be the part where there were some women disciples and apostles, or whatever you want to call them, and priests.
Well, the reincarnation was removed as well, because you can't have more than one chance.
Yes,
exactly.
A lot of things.
Exactly.
Yes,
it's a way to control the population.
The narrative. They're controlling the narrative, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I always take things that that I hear that are a little on the negative side when it comes to any world religion. When they say, oh, well, the Quran says this, the Bible says this, whatever. If it's negative, I always question it, because I do not think that that our forebears and people who helped create Earth School would want to set up roadblocks for us to fail.
No.
So I see that negativity as something that is man-made. That is
it's an inherent man-made process. Exactly. I love that you said that, because it is part of our shadow side coming out in our communications in that way, because there is an element within us that sometimes tries to control things and create our own empire.
Yes.
But empires always fall. Look at Julius Caesar.
Yes.
Look at Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yes. Absolutely. Because
the US of A.
Yeah. We cannot exist as little individual islands, because that's not who we are. We are all part of the big I am.
Yeah.
We each have a part to play. And no one little cell is more important than the next one.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's getting getting our individual mindsets to be comfortable with that, to accept that, and to say, I'm okay with that. I don't, it is doing a lot of shadow work. It's being able to look deep inside and say, yeah, you know what? I am a little controlling. Yes, I do want to get my own way. And we work through those things.
Yeah.
I think only once we've done that will any of the ETs want to come down and say, okay, you want to talk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's have coffee. Let's
Absolutely.
see if we can meet each other.
And here's the revelation that the people that hear this might understand. Maureen says, I
Thank
always
you,
got in
Maureen.
trouble in church because I refused to believe that God I love would send good people to hell if they didn't accept Jesus.
Exactly.
There is no reason for you to ever think, there's no such thing as you have to get baptized or any of that stuff, because that is just a man-made concept. You are divinity itself in being born into this body. That's where you come from. That's your source. There isn't anything wrong with you. And you can connect directly to God, first of all. And the only hell is you creating your own hell. So
yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome, Book. Haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're doing well, my
Hey,
friend.
Book.
And she says, yeah, in my spiritual journey, found there is no higher cruelty, harsher than that of Christian love.
Yes. Really pretty judgy and harsh. And
yes.
I have relatives, so I know.
Yeah,
I was in that cult for about 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
cult.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, all we have to do is take a look at what is happening in the U.S. in the name of Christianity.
Exactly. And folks, it's not to say that there aren't great churches out there like the Unity Church, or there are good ones. And even in Christian belief, there are some people who are running it that are a lot more on the love side of the equation and less on the judgy side.
Yes.
And there's an Episcopal priest that has a YouTube channel now, and he puts out little shorts all week, and every Sunday he does like a 10-15 minute sermon. And I just love listening to him because he approaches everything in the way that I always felt if Jesus was here, he would be teaching,
Yeah. Did Jesus ever say negative things? No. Did he ever say you were going to hell or going there or going? No.
The only thing negative Jesus ever did was to throw money changers out of the church.
Yeah. Love thy neighbor as thyself. What are all these things? Teach the way of energy. Energy flows as you put it out. What do you want to flow back to you?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you don't live your life.
He was one of them anyway. So,
living in fear of something that may or may not happen.
Exactly. Right? Thank you. Thank you. I mean,
you're going to go
talking about when you're passed away, when you're gone, when you're in spirit form. You think there's some guy with a pitchfork.
Yes.
Who is just made up, everyone. It's a made up story.
Yes.
To control the masses. And Earth School
it has long been like that.
Yeah.
Why is it that the part of the Bible story is that here were Adam and Eve, and they were just this lovely couple who lived in paradise. They had everything that they wanted. They never lacked for anything.
Yeah.
And it was the snake who came in and got Eve
to bite into knowledge.
Bite into knowledge. So, we have been paying back for the quote unquote sins of Eve ever since. And anything that doesn't work the way that it should, or anything that calls into Christian authority, it falls on women's shoulders. The reason that I think that story
is a symbolistic story, folks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marina.
Yeah. I think that
It's also
part of
why
the
so
reason
many
that
Christian
is
men hate
in
women.
there is because before the Bible was written, women had greater power than they did after the Bible.
It's
And one of
true.
the ways to control it
Yeah.
was to, put women in a position where we're all suffering thanks to you. You did this,
Right.
right?
And there were powerful matriarchal societies
Yes.
before all of this. So there,
Yes.
there you are. There.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Exactly.
we're moving back to that matriarchal society in a way which it's inclusive of the masculine side of us. So we have that balanced combo now, folks. It's not just the divine feminine, but the divine feminine with that beautiful outward flow of the masculine side of us. So
Yes.
that balance is what we're doing right now. That's what you see in the world, is the shifting of sifting up and floating up of what doesn't resonate with that.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you go back and look at the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of Buddha, the teachings of Muhammad, whatever prophet it is that we kind of attach ourselves to, they all basically taught the same thing.
Love.
And they all taught love. They all taught complete forgiveness. They all taught do for others, help those in need, I mean, and they all more or less came from a family background of either wealth or extreme comfort. They weren't beggars when they started out, when they received their calling and opened themselves up to that higher source.
Yeah.
They were able to step back and realize this is what's damaging us.
Yeah.
This is what we need to be doing, and and it's just it's getting to that point. I look at the churches, a lot of the churches today in the prosperity gospel. The only one that's getting prosperous is the damn preacher that has 2 or 3 mansions and Lear jets.
Book. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm just so appalled by
Yes, absolutely. No wonder you left.
Nature of how you were subjugated or trying to subjugate you to.
Blessed be the fruit.
Yes. Blessed be the fruit. Yes.
Under his eye.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. And that didn't work out so well. So.
No, that wouldn't work out with anyone who has a thinking mind that can think and process.
Yes, exactly. So I think, the idea that, if you find comfort in a church or a religious gathering, because of the support or the social interaction or whatnot, that's great. That's good. But you don't do it because you do it out of fear. Don't do it because you think if you don't, what will people say? Oh,
who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the minute they start in with, well, if you really want to belong, well, you have to do this or dress like this or talk like that. It's like, no. That's not how this works.
I have to put this up because Karen says, I was never told Eve got instructions from God. Always wondered why she was in trouble. Well, in that sense where she took the bite of the apple, it was a snake. But this is really a parable to understand that there is divine wisdom. A snake is in spiritual realm is really your kundalini, your sacred energy.
Yeah.
And when your sacred truth is saying to you, there is more than you know, and you bite the apple to learn what is there about existence. This earth school we created, boom, you learn. Yes. Now that we were blamed for learning all of this it's just a story, but basically it's about our fall into matter, our fall into the 3D. But it's really just a story. We created Earth School so we could learn the contrast. It is something that we all got together and decided to do. it isn't something done to us, and it's something we choose to come down and do. So that whole story is full of holes. And so it isn't God that told her anything. It is God in the sense that you created the snake that created the experience,
Yep.
that created the understanding of the contrast of why we're here in their school.
Yep.
And if God is so loving and all-knowing, then why did he create something that was going to make his creations falter?
It isn't God.
Yeah.
It's the God of all of us together as conscious creator beings. We flew out from the body of God as these sparks of sovereign
Yes.
sovereignty.
Right. No, I'm just saying from the perspective of how it was written out.
Yeah.
Why would you say in one breath,
Yeah.
he's all-knowing, all-powerful, nothing but love, blah, 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 blah. And then in the next breath say, when then he created this creature,
He didn't create
that's
the whole thing about
going to deceive his chosen ones.
That's why you've got to look at the
they don't make sense. They contradict
what
each other.
makes sense is you created Earth School to come down and learn from as a collective of sparks of God. You sat around and said, oh, well, let's go experience this. Oh, okay. That sounds good. Let's create this experience where we can see the contrast, because you're in blissful state when you're out of the body. You're floating around. Oh, and God wants to experience himself in every part of you. And so you're experiencing this Earth School to see what that's like, to live through those things that are only illusionary. We're only here for a certain amount of time to experience that in a multiple timeline event happening right now. And so you can't even go to, well, how can you say this about God and how can you not? Because we are that God source making choices, and we experience this. None of the story around it has taken our power away. All those other stories take our power away.
I understand what Sherry is getting at, and absolutely I get it, because if it's kind of like saying, I am a psychic medium, and I connect to the other side, and I can bring forth messages from people that have passed over. And I also read tarot cards, so I can look into your future and tell you what's going to happen. And then the next thing that I say is, oh my God, somebody just cheated me out of $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. There it is. Right there, the dialectic thinking, the separation between you and soul and spirit. That is exactly it in a nutshell.
So, no, I think a lot of people, Sherry, have probably asked themselves that question at some point in time, and they've just been told, oh, ye of little faith, you must believe. Because, if
I had that question in a catechism class and got punished for asking it.
So no wonder I don't know it, because I never had catechism.
Yes, no.
Luckily, None wasn't real happy with me when I asked that question.
Oh.
She we're not going to go there, but anyway, and so that's always been kind of that one question that I like to put to people. Well, if he's all of this wonderful stuff, then why did he create something evil that's going to create his chosen ones?
That's how they had to create the devil. The devil did it.
Why did he create this evil thing to cause his chosen people?
But they don't think he created the devil. The devil this whole devil concept.
Oh, I know that, but it's like when you approach them from where they're coming from and you give them that question, they can't answer it because
answer it by saying
it contradicts each other. It contradicts each other. It's a contradiction.
And there should be no contradiction.
There should be no contradiction if you believe that everything is from divine source, the creator. Then there would
be, but you're dealing with people that's very limited, black and white, no shadow, no gray. It's this way or that way, but they don't see the fact that when they start telling these stories that every other sentence contradicts the one before. And it's like, okay, make up your mind. Which one is it?
Yeah.
Is he all love or is he all punishment? You know,
Reminds me of that Meatloaf song, what's it going to be? Yes or no? And what's the name of that song?
Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
Yes, Paradise. Yes.
Yes.
What's it going to be? Yes or no? Yeah. So, well, you know what? Let's go out on a laugh. We're at 55 minutes. Yep. And
Allie posted she had to run. So
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So I made corn chowder for supper tonight. So I can smell it and I need to go have a bowl.
I think so. That sounds
I'm going
good.
to turn the oven on and pop my Stouffer's meal in there.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in, booking a reading with any of us, by all means, get in touch. Send us an email. You can find our email on our YouTube pages. If you go to where it has the little description, and then it has ... more, click on the more, and you'll be able to access our email address. Get in touch with us. And courses, anything along those lines, by all means, get in touch with us. And in the meantime, thank you, Val. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Allie, for being here. Next week, we are going to be on Sherry's channel. So make sure that you join us there. Yes, exactly. So thank you for spending part of your evening with us. And we will see you later. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.